Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Gee, I'm happy to be back here with you today. It's another season of ratings. Ratings battles, and this is really the first season, the inaugural season. The original season we had last year was a pilot, and they said as much on the webpage when they were doing it, and they've taken a lot of feedback from that season and put it into effect here. And much like they talked about in Minsk when they said, hey, would you guys think that ratings at 7 and 8 would be a good idea? They've instituted that. They've done a much better job with calibrating the ratings. So you don't end up with people being rated way higher than they should be, which was a big problem last season, because what was happening was people were getting a really negative experience. They were being rated very, very high after winning their first and only battle, and then basically free-falling from there on out till they mellowed out at the rating where they were kind of comfortable and their skill set put them in. And that created an exceptionally negative experience when they're coming up against really, really good players. But let's not talk about last season. Let's talk about this season and what's good and what it could probably use a little bit of work. Just for a bit of background on how much ratings I've been playing, a lot would be the answer to that. I've played an awful lot of ratings, mostly tier 8 and 9, a bit of tier 10, and you might be wondering why I played tier 9, because I kind of had some odd experiences, and I thought, look, I'm not a special snowflower, but I get YOLO'd a lot, right? And it's just how it is. Goes with the territory. But I had some crazy RNG going on where I was just losing games 6 and 5 players to nil. And I came up against a particular Yag Panther 2 player, and it was just this crazy thing where I was against him 8 times, he was on my team 6 times, and then in 20 games and 6 games I won where he was not involved. Every time he was on the other team, his team won. Every time he was on my team lost. And it was just absolute madness. So I decided I'd go and give up all the crazy stuff with ratings and just play tanks I enjoyed and liked. And I did. I got up to about 3,900, dropped back to about 3,600, and I got back up to about 3,900 now. But here's the thing. There's a couple of issues with ratings. One of them is the calculations. At the moment, it's early season, so everyone is calibrating. So what they're doing is they'll take the 3 ratings totals from the team, so to speak, add them together, divide them by the number of people who are rated, and that'll give you the average of the team. So on the left, you have 3,193. On the right, you have 3,431. You'd think the guys on the right were going to carry the day. They have a much greater rating, 10% higher. But that's not really how it works. Because of all the people who are early in the season getting calibrated, playing their 20 games, which I think is a good idea, they're playing against players who are already rated, and they get thrown in the pot. And what that can mean is you get some really bad teams if you are on the side of the calibrated team. So you've got, on the right-hand side, you've got 4 players who don't have any calibration. Now, I'm not making a judgment on their abilities. What I'm saying is that on the left, you have a definitive statement on every single player on the team. Every single player on the team is rated, has been calibrated, and you can see that there are actually quite a few players there who know what they're doing, or over 3,000, all well and good. On the right, you don't know. It's just like a bit of pot luck, and that can lead to some really lopsided results like this, where teams have very similar calibration numbers. At the top, you can see 3,193 versus 3,431, but they actually end up with very, very different skill levels in their teams. And that happens all the time. You can see here it's happened to me to a slightly lesser extent, but there's 3 guys there that are uncalibrated. On the other team, there's only 1 guy that's uncalibrated. But because we've got quite a high average, I was running about 3,750, and 1 guy was 3,320, that's really dragged everyone in our team up to a much more challenging level where everyone on the other team, bar 1 guy, is at least 3,000. Some of them, multiples in the mid-3s. So you can get situations like that where the calibration is kind of not doing the exact business. Now, I've had some very, very frustrating times with this, and I've noticed that in some of the most frustrating losses I've had where there's been like 3-on-2 tanks, and one of the enemy tanks has no hit points left, and yet our guys all focus the tank with the full hit points because they're in this damage farming mode, like a normal public battle where they just want to put up big numbers and they're not really playing to win. That can be very frustrating. But not all the games are like that. Sometimes you just lose because the other team's better, and that's fair enough. And I'm more than willing to take that margin of error for the sake of getting everyone calibrated. Because really, last season was a little bit of a schmozzle where people were getting very, very weird and odd calibrations and ratings. Like on my Asia account, I think I started at like 3,800. On my NA account, because I lost the first game and I had no stats on the account because it was a contributor account, I ended up getting rated at like 2,500, which made life just absolutely not that much fun trying to get through that low, the low levels, and it's a lot of grind. The other thing is, there's certainly going to be more grind involved this season. There's a lot of effort and a lot of work. But for all that, I'm enjoying it. Now, what tanks have I been driving? Well, at Tier 8, I've driven quite a few heavy tanks. I've driven the Lerva, I've driven the IS-3 Defender, I've even given the Chieftain a little bit of a look. And I've driven the Mod 1, I've driven the Jagdpanther 2, I've driven the T-54 Lightweight, and I've actually, the tank that I've enjoyed the most at Tier 8 has been the Lerva. I've found that pen is super important at this tier, and the Lerva's actually got pretty good DPM. And the ability to side scrape and go a little bit slower and have a bigger hit point pool has been pretty cool. And I've had a lot of heartbreaking losses, But I've got to be honest, I've been involved in a lot of near wins as well. And that's been a lot of fun. The challenge has been really, really cool. I've enjoyed it a lot. What I've also done is, and this is quite funny, but I decided to just screw it. I'll just go and play the tanks I enjoy playing. So I've driven a lot of Tier 9. I've driven a lot of Centurion 7 and 1, which has been awesome. And I've really enjoyed that. And I've driven the Cent 7 and 1 probably for 20 games and had a lot of Tier X matches in it. And it's been doing fine, and I've been really enjoying it. One of the things that I find is very, very different for ratings battles, when you get good teams, people play to win, as I mentioned before. Now, playing to win is very, very different than playing to do damage. And I've actually seen a lot of people in big TDs just sucking massively, because what they've been doing is sitting at the back trying to farm damage in supremacy games, and solid players have just gone around, got their caps, and not moved. And that's why some of those big TDs don't get to play competitive, because unless the enemy is coming in towards you, they're no good. They're not really that great. And I've had other situations like this where I don't know how the team's managed to lose it. Like, I've called left, everyone's gone left, and that's the other thing. I'm being very vocal. And while everyone has gone left, and that's all well and good, we've got both caps, we've got B and C, and somehow the whole team's just buggered off at the other end and is still dying, and the Reds are gone through the middle, and it's just this weird thing. And I end up getting absolutely frustrated sometimes, but still, it's better than public games. Like, the Red team deserves this win. They really do. They played this exceptionally well. They made a really solid push through the middle together. The IS-6 capped B, and it's just pretty impressive overall that they were so successful and focused so much on the task at hand rather than just going and getting damage. They made sure they capped that second cap, and they win the game. So Tier 10, I found IS-4, ever reliable IS-4. He's been very, very good. The T-62A is currently a real favourite of mine, and a main squeeze that I can't get enough of. And that's really it. But I'm going to have more ratings battles, because I've had some fantastic ones, and I've had some rough ones. And I'll actually, you know what? I'll show you a few. I'll show you a few ratings battles, because the degree of carry necessary quite often in these battles is just bloody massive. You can see here I've run out of team. We got beaten on cap despite having both caps, and I missed that shot, and I still did. What did I do? 3,754. I mean, there's only, again, this is the thing I'm talking about. I mean, you can see there we've got 3 guys on our team rated. We have a higher rating in inverted commas than the other team. But 4 of our teammates don't have a calibration yet. So you can end up in these situations. And if you're playing at low pop times, that will happen quite a bit. And because the server's juggling the numbers around, we end up with, 3,204 rating. You think, great, when you load in, that's a fantastic number. We've got to win this one. And we don't, because there's a lot of good players in the other team. You can see there's a 3,900 nearly, there's a 3,500, there's a 3,300, over 3,000 there on the Storyteller, and nearly 3,000 on Napoleon. So there's people are actually coming up into these weird situations where the calibration at the start is going to cause these issues. Just get through it. It'll be cool. The best thing you can really do is just play better. I found. And you just have to carry. There's a lot of people running T49s. I don't know why. They're really not that great a tank for ratings games, I don't feel. But then again, a lot of people would probably say the Cent 701 is a terrible tank for ratings games. And I'm a bit of the opinion that the Cent 701 is actually a bloody good tank for anything. So there you go. T54 Mod 1 works, by the way. But I'm just overdriving the T54 Mod 1. I've driven it a lot lately, and it went very, very well for me at the start of ratings. But I just really like the Lurver at the moment. I'm enjoying the Lurver. I tried the IS-3 Defender. I can't stomach the gun handling. The gun handling on the Defender is just absolutely dog-awful. And I need some gun handling to keep me happy in this life. So the Lurver is kind of where I'm tending towards. And if I had the Carnarvon on my standard account, I'd be stoked. There's all kinds of weird stuff. Like this is what I'm talking about. They've been sitting over there in spawn, their 2 TDs, wrecking our team. And I've kind of pinged it back. And there's people telling people to cap here. There's people telling people to push. And I cut out the whole cap win. Like, we're not going into cap. That guy's a one-shot. That's a Borsig and an ISU 152. We're not going to cap, dude. Like, you get a lot of this too. You get a lot of people backseat riding because everyone wants the ratings. They're like, they actually care. People aren't just screaming at you for being a noob. People are like telling you, do this, do that. Watch your left. E100 coming on the right. Get the AMX 50B first. And it's actually pretty cool, I think, anyway. So I'm pushing over here, and you're going to see just, the amount of effort and work to go into these wins is quite often amazing. And I'm telling him I'm spotted. I mean, look at the actual communication in a game. Amazing. Now, I cannot, again, I must stress, there are going to be moments where you're just like, everyone is bad. What is going on here? It's just not fair. But that won't be forever. And if you get calibrated right, you'll be cool. You'll end up in the right league, and hopefully you end up working through that and enjoying yourself. And it's something to do, and I much prefer it. And if you do it in a premium tank, then happy days. You're going to actually end up with some premium tank love. You're going to get some credits. So if you're grinding ratings while doing premium tank stuff, that's really, really cool as far as I'm concerned. And I've been running Lurver and Centurion and all that kind of stuff. And you can see here, I'm just trying to stay alive while the Centurion moseys on across. And I told that Centurion to stay there, by the way. I cut that bit out. I told that Centurion to hold because he was a one-shot. And the last thing I wanted was to be left on my own in a non-turreted TD and having to deal with these clowns with 150mm guns and no chance at redemption. Because this guy knows what he's doing. He is absolutely not a muppet. I can tell he is playing very, very solid. He's played the tank from the back. He's wiped out quite a few humans or put some big shots in. And I'm just going to wait here until the Centurion turns up. He's going to flank around. And we're going to end up getting the win. Excellent. Hard work at times. But you know what? I'm seeing so many of these games where it's coming down to the wire. And it's interesting. It's exciting. I'm really enjoying it. I'll show you one more before we go. This is the Mod 1. This is the last game, I think, before I got calibrated, or maybe one before the last. If I could say one thing to the populace, what is wrong with you people on Port Bay? Why do you not push the corner? Why do you not go to the far north eastern corner of the map and get it if you go to the C cap or the right flank from this spawn or the left flank from the other spawn and control this whole flank, or at least have the means to control this whole flank. I can't tell you how often I've been on Port Bay in ratings games lately and had no one go to this flank, but all the mediums apart from me go on the inside and try and cap C. And their mediums or lights pop over here, and it is an absolute schmozzle, and no one goes home a happy camper. Now, I will have more rating stuff coming up. I'm going to do a bit of a look and a bit of a thinking man's chat about what tank is doing well in ratings, what tank I'd be running if I was in ratings, all that kind of stuff. One thing I can tell you, if you're driving the 54 Mod 1, pack some APCR, because you're going to run into a lot of defenders, a lot of IS-3s, a lot of T-34s, a lot of proper heavy tanks, which is good, I think, anyway. I think it's a testament to the variety of the gameplay that you are running into those heavy tanks, because without them, the game would be very, very mundane and very boring. And I like that variety. It's good, but I'll be happier once we get everyone calibrated and we get a few more people popping along. So you can see I have got the flank here on Port Bay in the Mod 1, and the Mod 1 is overpowered. Look, there's no way around it. The only thing is, if you're driving the Mod 1 in ratings, you're going to run into a lot of Mod 1s. Like, there's a lot of Mod 1s out there. And it's kind of funny, but the more Mod 1s you have on a team, the more drastically your damage drops. I mean, you're all well and good, but Mod 1 is not a big damage dealer. And in fact, there's not a lot of tanks at Tier 8 that are big-time damage dealers, like in terms of big numbers. It's got a 100mm gun with a very low rate of fire, a pretty fair to middling DPM number, and excellent armor. And as you get more and more of these kind of tanks in the game, like T-44s and T-54 lightweights and T-59s, there's a lot of these around. A lot of people playing these premiums, particularly with this China bundle that's going out at the moment. You will see that the overall DPM of your team does drop quite significantly, and that can be a bit of an issue. And it's one of the reasons I really like the Lurva. You get gun handling and a bit of DPM under your belt and some hit points. I mean, it's not super mobile, but, you know, it gets the job done. But, gee, this is a fierce little beastie in the right hands, isn't it? Look at it go. Just constantly controlling that flank and working the numbers. I mean, the pen on the gun is god-awful. 175mm, I think it is, which is literally god-awful. The 59's like 180. But without this flank, you know, this is a loss. If you've got the flank, you've got two guys over here, you can put an awful lot of damage in while not taking a huge amount of damage back. Now, the numbers are going to eventually turn up against us here, and they do start getting shots in. We had to clear that 34, trying to hang on to that last tank on our team over there, and we did. No need to be sorry, amigo. Never be sorry. You did your level best. And so it's me and this bloke over there versus 3. Go team, says the T28 Proto. Like, I love this. I love this. People are invested. Go team. Watch the Mod 1 do all kinds of absolutely crap rubbish here. This is pretty funny. How many bounces can you have? Not enough, apparently. This poor old SU-122, he's in a really tough spot. We can afford to take one from him. We bounce one, but we bounce another. Now we're in a little bit of strife. That 49 after me actually saying, yeah, why would you drive one of them? He was being a real punish pretty much the whole game. Just this IS-3 left now, and we are skedaddling. We are a one-shot. Our amigo over there is a one-shot. I'm like, man, this rating season is a whole different box of dice, isn't it? There goes the Tiger. We bounce another one. I mean, I'm making a pretty good case for people to drive the Mod 1, aren't I? Really. I've got one last little tidbit here, guys, and this is just another example of how crazy and cool the games have been, despite the fact that some of it's driven me to distraction. And the Mod 1 did pretty well for me. I used it to calibrate and actually came out of it pretty strong. This is a game in the Cent 7 and 1, and it's not good because of amazing damage or anything like that. Red actually does really well here. We're stuck on the flank. We get pretty much pounded. I got tunneled really hard. Someone said, kill the Hesh guy at the start, it's Bushka, all that kind of thing. 8:55 with 2 caps down, and it's 2 on 3, but I've got a Barney, right? Because we're about to die, and I'm driving to base B, right? I take the hit, get to B, we got to cap B, and then I've got to get to A. They're at 9:35 already, but at least I've stopped them from getting points at B. This is hilarious. Snoopy the sniper says close. I'm like, come on, take off. Go, 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 you big dog, go. Don't run over the truck. It's going to take too long. 80, 85, 90, 95, 1,000. How about them apples? How amazing is that? Oh my good God. And then these guys are like, here's Whitebush. They know who it is. It's madness. Leave A. It's great. I'm like, how close is that? That was really funky. Oh, I had tears in my eyes just watching it again. It was tense. But that's what I mean. People are playing to win. People are playing to win. I'm like, camp, don't just hold. Don't push into him, because if anyone here gets killed, they win. Like, that's a full win. Anyway, we win. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Look after yourselves. Stay safe in the battlefield. And until next time, bye for now.